Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we had to deal with Inquisitor Draken and had to pick the option of shooting him, and found out that he had moved the body of... I'm missing his name. Uther Tiberius, that's the name. Moved his body, and so now we have to somehow find that. But first we have to talk to Captain Van Winter.
Inquisitor, we have arrived at the coordinates you gave me. You also have a message from the Conclave.
We have received reports of your recent encounter with Inquisitor Draken. We appreciate the way you handled the situation. We are aware that Draken exceeded his authority in certain cases, and we will make sure he is justly reprimanded for his actions. But you seem to understand that our work often requires some adjustments to the decrees. We see huge potential in you, Inquisitor.
Where are we, Captain?
Honestly, I have no idea. This moon doesn't appear in any Imperial records, although it houses an ecclesiarchy cathedral.
Anything else I should be aware of?
Our Argers keep picking up disturbing warp signatures from this segment of the void. However, there is an Imperial fortress defending the cathedral. It could hold the answers you need.
Wait, so did we not kill Draken and instead just somehow use a sniper rifle once again to non-lethal take down him to hand him over to the rest of the Inquisition? They really need to be a bit more clear on that, because most of the time the Inquisition's methods aren't, oh, let's hand them over to the authorities, it's more just shoot them and move on. I've tied up loose ends with Inquisitor Draken. I learned that he removed the vestiges of Uther Tiberius from his tomb and took everything to a much safer hiding place. If everything goes according to plan, I might be able to obtain the Uther's Imperial Rosette and swiftly return to the Martyr. Alas, in my profession, events don't tend to follow plans all that closely.
Noted. I will explore the area first.
So, one thing I was thinking about, because I haven't really mentioned it, was the Emperor. And there's a lot to cover with the Emperor of Mankind, but I think one of the things that isn't really covered that often is how he is immortal. Because that's a big thing, since he is effectively... he serves as a lighthouse now, where, because all Imperial ships travel through the warp, they need to have a way to guide their ships. And that's what the Emperor is he effectively is a beacon of psychic activity that allows ships to navigate. And of course there's the matter of...
reloading.
He predates the Horus Heresy, which was it's 30k instead of 40k. And he predates even that. The lore goes into how he predates essentially all human civilization. Some bits say that he was made through the collective efforts of a number of shaman on Earth. I think it's like 8,000 BC. And he ends up going to ancient Sumeria at one point. And he is... I just looked up, it's not an eternal, but it's something along those lines. And the thing is, he's not the only one. And anyone who has this trait of near immortality, they can be decapitated, blown up, anything, and they will regenerate. One was actually a space marine for the Emperor's children, I believe it was. And he ended up getting turned to dust and ash by Fabius Bile, and Bile ended up fleeing because he knew that Space Marine would reconstitute himself. It may not be any time soon, but it would happen. There is... Well, one of the other things is you can become this kind of immortal being artificially. The Emperor was able to imbue that ability upon people. It happened, I know for sure, to one woman on Mars. She watches over the Void Dragon, which some people say that the Void Dragon is the Omnissiah, while others say it isn't.
A forbidden outpost on a moon that doesn't exist, too close to a warp surge on the brink of an explosion, which also serves as an otherworldly psychic shield. An appropriate location for a dead visionary. Indeed. It could also mean that Uther's followers have considerable influence in the Conclave.
But the idea of the Omnissiah being the Void Dragon is... I can see it, but I can't say for certain I would 100% accept that. Because the Void Dragon is one of the Catan, the gods of the Necrons. You have, like, the Deceiver is another Catan. There's... I can't remember the other one. Because there's two big ones you usually see. It's the Deceiver, and then there's another one that's dressed up like a kind of stereotypical Grim Reaper look. I just don't remember them, since most instances in, like, miniatures that you encounter Catan, it's a shard of one. But kind of looping back, the immortality is kind of, it can be imbued. Like I said, the Emperor did it. It's just not very common, and you can die and be dead. It's just very difficult. One instance is through the Fulgurite, which is... it's a spearhead made... Okay, so Fulgurite, what it is it's what happens when lightning strikes sand. You've seen, like, the kind of glass structures that form from it. The Fulgurite is that, but instead of normal lightning, it's psychic lightning from the Emperor. So it's, you know, super special. So it can be used, it's been used a couple times in the lore, but it's never been, you know, super big deal. Vulcan, the Primarch of the Salamanders, was given the ability to be immortal. I'm fully looking how that one worked out, since Primarchs, they aren't immortal, but they're kind of already almost pretty close. I say that, and then I remember Ferrus Manus, I believe, had his head cut off. So, can't really say everybody's immortal. And Sanguinius died. They're immortal light. They can't take decapitation very well, but they age very slowly. But of course, the whole immortality thing, it's not just for good guys. there was, I believe it was a Chaos Witch who was actually given that ability to be immortal, just naturally born with it.
Oh, it's transmitting. I'll look into it.
Yeah, that's essentially all I can think of for the whole immortality thing, because it doesn't... For the ability to pretty much stave off any and all death and eventually recuperate from all wounds, it doesn't play as big of a role as you would think it would. There's the idea that, based on the fact that the Emperor might have come from a bunch of shamans using, because they're effectively ciphers, using warp power, that the Emperor is in himself kind of, I wouldn't say corrupted by chaos, but created through the warp and by extension through chaos. But it starts getting into nitpicky stuff, and there's a lot of lore that hasn't been really updated in years, or in some cases decades. One interesting thing, though, about the whole navigating the warp and using the Emperor as a beacon or a lighthouse is the fact that the Tau, even though they travel through space, they don't use that at all. They actually developed their own way to travel through space without having to worry about having... They don't go through the warp. I don't fully know how orcs travel. I think they go through the warp as well. But like I've said before, the orcs quite literally play by their own rules. I'm a bit surprised they haven't added orcs to this game, though. Seems like a completely... Them, Necrons, Tau... Those are the three that are missing, because they added Tyranids and normal Eldar in the Prophecy expansion, which added the Tech Priest. I will complain, though, one thing about the Eldar. It's a writing issue. I hate how often they bust out the avatar of Cain, and it dies. Cain is supposed to be a war god, and it seems like any time writers need to make it seem like some character means business, an avatar of Cain's gotta die. And it's like, okay, I get it. You're really showing, you mean business. But it really depreciates the value of an avatar of Cain if everyone's just beating them senseless. It's like, at this point, you might as well do something different. Have them, I don't know, bust up some Necrons or something. Have a shard of one of the Catan and just punch the hell out of it. Anything's more interesting than just the same punching bag time and again. Oh, random thing too that I thought was really cool. I saw it today. It was, this guy took I think it was a think it was a rhino. The rhino tanks. Or no. Yeah, rhino tank. And what he did was he then cut it into 6 pieces. Once straight down the middle, and then 2 lines across. So you have a nice even 6 parts, and then put each part on the back of an orc knob so that they can kind of quote-unquote sneak around as one vehicle. It's one rhino, and on the front it says, not orcs, spec marines. And I thought that was a really creative way of just introducing that. And it's such a funny thing to do. I love some of the crazy stuff people come up with for designing orcs. Crap. I forget I can turn invisible. Because 9 times out of 10 the stupid ability fails to trigger. Man, that actually worked out great. Hey, that was a penetrating shot. Give me my damage.
Loading!
I'm probably gonna have to switch these guns out at some point. I think they're starting to once again show their age. Which is a shame, but not much I can do about it. They've served well enough for long enough. Taking on this Decimator will be interesting though. This is another unit I'd love to see in a Dawn of War game. Like, Dawn of War 3, when they added they had the Imperial Knight as a Space Marine unit you could call in. I'm disappointed the game never got Chaos, because this would most likely either a Decimator as your equivalent or just having Rogue Knights, because Imperial Knights have fallen to Chaos. I mean, there was one in the lore. It was piloted by this guy who just continually spout litanies, and the way it came off is that everybody just got annoyed with how much he spouted them, and it made him sound like a psychopath, and he ended up falling to Chaos and still spouts litanies, but now Chaos litanies. Give you a few seconds if you want to pause that and read it. Oh, and then last week there was, for the PlayStation, the Xbox Microsoft Showcase, they showed stuff for a new 40K game made by Fat Shark, so the guys who do all the Vermintide games. They're doing Darktide, which, even though it's like, oh, you can play it on PC or Xbox, considering how every other game came out for PlayStation, I assume it'll come out for PlayStation as well. And when the time comes, I'm gonna pick that up, because I'm looking forward to it. My concern, admittedly, is I hope there's a lot of weapons, because it looks like there's like a standard guardsman, an Ogren, and then some kind of, almost like a battle sister or something along those lines. And I'm not sure what the last class will probably be, if they just do 4 instead of going with more. But I'd hope there'd be a lot of variety, because that's what always bugged me with playing Vermintide, was the classes felt way too pigeonholed, and I just want more weapons. A guardsman can have las guns, not a bolter, but a like bolt pistol. They can have stubbers or any standard, modern machine gun, flamers, plasma weapons. I'm trying to think what else. There's a good variety, melta guns, and you can have all that. And you can have similar versions for every class because everybody has roughly the same stuff. Like if you look at the Ecclesiarchy, the Imperial Guard, and the Space Marines, everybody has, for the most part, the same weaponry. Bolters are a little harder to handle if you're a standard guardsman, but, everybody's typically got the same stuff. It might be a little different. You could have, guardsmen get, Mars pattern las rifles and shotguns and all that stuff. They can get, you can have special war gear, Oh, here's a standard las gun, here's a named version, here's, a semi-named, like your standard like Diablo or Martyr style loot system where it's like, oh, you've got, like Diablo, oh, you got this armor of the lizard, and it gives you X, gives you a little bit of extra health regen. You can do that and make it just a number of different patterns and different things, like a focused las rifle that might do a little bit better in a certain aspect, might be a little more accurate, or little things to give a good amount of variety so players don't feel like they're just grinding the same crap a million times. And that would make the game pretty great. It looks like it's going to be more fighting Nurgle, which I love fighting Nurgle, but I will say it is kind of tiring how often Nurgle gets kind of dragged out and it's like, oh, here's the bad guy. Yeah, plague zombies are cool, but you really got to kind of innovate your enemies here. I mean, I've said before, you can't really have Slanesh because everybody's got their wang out or a boob out, but Khorne and Tzeentch, you got options. Brother Lucius Tileheart.
By the grace of the Emperor, an inquisitorial agent at last. In my darkest hours, I almost believed that you had abandoned us.
Who are you, and what happened here?
I am Brother Tileheart, and I am a sinner. Sinners we all were. We brought this upon us. We should have never have brought a holy relic to this forsaken moon.
Could you be more specific, priest?
You don't have to worry, Inquisitor. We all went through proper mind-cleansing rituals. Rest assured, I don't remember the name of the Imperial Saint. At least that information is still secure.
Who gave you this assignment?
A most revered agent of the Holy Ordos. He never told us his name.
When did the filth of chaos arrive?
When the ancient anchor engines first manifested problems, I begged my brothers to seek assistance from the cult Mechanicus, but they didn't listen. And then the rotten stigma flared up. The machine started to slow down, and suddenly the moon was teeming with these accursed traitors.
Where are they?
I'm afraid they have entered the cathedral, but I can tell you the whereabouts of a secret entrance. You must stop them.
You should go to my ship.
My oath prevents me from leaving this place, Inquisitor, but I'll stay in contact with you all along the way.
Alright, so that's all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to hit the like button, helps out the channel a lot. If you're new, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.